Hello students, this tutorial is to help you with your electrical loops for your 6th grade assignment today. So the first thing you're going to want to do after logging into our class Tinkercad account is to go over here on the left to the circuits area, right over here. And then you want to click on create a circuit. Okay. So we're going to be making 3 different circuits today. So I'm going to be calling this circuits up at the top. C-I-R-C-U-I-T-S, circuits. Okay. So the first circuit we're going to make is going to be powered by a 3-volt set of 2 AA batteries. We're going to need 2 light bulbs and a switch. So let's start by scrolling down and pulling out a 1.5 volt battery and then changing that 1.5 volt battery to 2 1.5 volt batteries. I'm also going to ask that you rotate the battery until the leads right here, the positive and negative, are facing towards the middle empty part. So this is our first loop here. Okay. We're also going to need a slide switch, and we're going to do a bulb. So you can type in B-U-L-B, and we're going to need 2 different light bulbs. Okay. But we're going to wire it up a little differently than before. Okay. So the first light bulb, we're actually going to do this loop in 2 separate loops. So the first loop we're going to do is just to the first light bulb and back. Okay. This will be a single circuit. So we're going to start by putting the mouse on top of one of these leads until we get a little square. Click there, and then when we get to where we want to, we can click again, making sure that it's on the first lead of the battery, or excuse me, of the light bulb, and then we click again when we see that it's touching. You get that square when it's touching. And then we can do the same thing to bring it right back. And then we can test this by clicking on Start Simulation, and we notice that that's lit up. Great. So we want to stop the simulation. And then now we're going to make a second circuit that comes from the positive part here, and it's going to be in a separate circle with this switch. So we're going to start here and get a second wire coming off of the red positive, and we're going to click from there to this one. And then now we're going to bring this back not to the battery, but we're going to go through the switch. So I'm going to ask that you go from here to the closest lead on the switch, and then don't use the outside, use the middle one. You always have to use the middle prong on these slide switches, and go from here back to the negative. So each light bulb has its own loop going from positive to the light bulb and back to negative, from positive to the light bulb back to the negative, but this one has a switch in the way. And then if we start the simulation here at the top and then try this switch should only operate one of the light bulbs. Okay, so that is looking great. Okay, so I'm going to actually shrink this down. I'm going to stop the simulation. I'm going to shrink this down by pulling these items closer in, because that is our first loop. Now, going back, clearing out that search, going back here, now we're going to be making a second circuit with an LED. So I'm going to ask that you get a coin cell battery now, an LED, and a switch. And this one I'd like to be a circle kind of like this bottom one here, where it's going to go from here to the LED, through the switch, and then back to negative. Now remember, the LEDs are a little more finicky. We have to start from the positive and go to this longer bent lead right here. So from here, we're going to go from positive to the bent one, from this one to the outside, and then from the middle back to the negative. And we can start the simulation, and this should work right here. You can click on the LED and change the LED to another color if you'd like. That's up to you, which color you want. Okay, so this is our second circuit. You need to make sure it works. Areas that can make this not work are if the wires aren't connected, if you connected the positive part of the battery to the wrong lead, the positive has to go to the longer positive lead here. And then make sure that one of your wires touches the middle of the switch here. You always have to use the middle common one, okay? And then that should turn on and off the light as it works. Great. And the last part here is we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to simulate this circuit, but with LEDs, where we're going to have 2 loops of LEDs. So here, we're going to grab another coin cell battery. We're going to grab 2 LEDs and a switch. And we want to make a circuit that, just like this one, where the switch only turns on and off one of the LEDs. So you can make these LEDs whatever color you want. I'm going to make one blue and one red, and I want the switch to only turn on and off the red one. So to make the blue one light up, I need to go from positive to positive, negative to negative. And let's test that. And yes, indeed, it lights up. Great. I can stop the simulation. And then we're going to make a completely separate loop. It has to be a separate loop where we click from positive to positive. And then from negative, we could bring it back to negative here, but we want this one to operate on a switch. So we're going to go to the first prong and then grab from the middle prong back to negative. Make sure it's actually lighting up the square before you click on it. And now let's start the simulation and let's test. So this operates, I could see both LEDs light up and the switch turns on and off one of them. This switch here turns on and off this LED, and this switch here turns on and off this light bulb. So these are the 3 circuits you need to make, and then you can go mark it as done when you have completed it. Hope that helped.